Everybody, Blessed Strava here, it's Kaylana. And so today's vlog is going to be about Instacart's policies and procedures, and do you think that they are fair? And quite frankly, I am a bit neutral about the situation. I think that some of their policies are not fair, especially when it pertains to reliabilities, vacation times, picking your hours. And actually, I'm going to talk a little bit about the main three, which is setting your vacation time and getting your early access, and reliabilities, and also picking your hours. And so first, when it comes to setting your vacation time, now some of you guys may know this already, especially if you've been on the platform for a while, that you're able to set your vacation time. Meaning, if you have to go on a vacation, if you're going out of town, if you're having surgery, if you have a family emergency, like whatever the case is, on the app, you're able to set your vacation time on when you're leaving and when you're coming back on the platform. But the problem with that is that you're not able to get your early access back. So, or maybe what if like you forgot to pick your hours that morning, or maybe if you're in a meeting, or if you had to work, or if you had a family emergency, if you were sick, or your car, whatever the case is, and you just weren't able to pick your hours that Sunday morning, that could be a problem. And to me, I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's right, because I understand where it becomes like this first come, first serve type of thing. But you have to understand that Sundays are a very private and personal day for most people, like myself, who go to church and stuff, and things like that. So some people consider that as like a Sabbath day or a sacred day, and even some Saturdays for most people that are, believers and Christians as well. However, I just think that, missing your time to pick your schedule and not getting back on to, be able to get early access is not fair, especially if you are able to get on the Instacart app and set your time of when you're going away, when you're coming back. You should still be able to pick your hours and have early access. And I know like some people, even here in my area, who I'm close with, who other shoppers, and told me that they have not gotten their early access back since they had lost it. And a close friend of mine, she's a shopper here, and she was mentioning to me that I think she forgot to pick her hours. I think she was working that morning. It was something, and she wasn't able to pick her hours. I think she forgot to do it at that time. And so when she got on the app, when she realized that she actually had lost all the hours, and so she couldn't pick anything because there weren't anything left available for her to get. Like there were no hours, and so she basically took like a week or two off or something. It was something that was going on, and I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail, but basically, and that was like 2 months ago. And so ever since then, it's been hard for her to even pick any hours. And she's like, yeah, it's been like 2 months, and like she's been on a platform just as long as I have, and so it's been crazy. And so I think that policy with the early access needs to be thrown out of the window. It's just me. I think it's only fair for people to get first dibs who are actually hired when I think like when Instacart launched in their zone. Like for us, it launched around October, November of 2016, and so I actually joined when they first launched. And so I think that people who first started within like the first, I would say first 60 to 90 days should be able to get first dibs and hours, and then everybody else could be able to get something. But I just think that it shouldn't be to where if someone doesn't claim their hours at 9 a.m. on a Sunday, then they won't have any say so in when they can be able to get any hours, or they won't be able to pick any hours at all. I think that all shoppers should be able to have an opportunity to pick hours and have something, even if even if it's not 40 hours. And if they miss that time slot, they should at least be able to have something, at least maybe 20, maybe 30, and then check the app to have something. You know what I mean? Because the reason why I feel this way is because I understand that we are independent contractors, and so we have to kind of wing it. But if Instacart has all these policy and rules, then they should be able to let us have some type of flexibility and give us more of a cushion to to be able to have hours and to be able to make some money. You understand what I'm saying? So if they have all these rules and regulations and strict guidelines, then they should be able to give us an incentive for that, which is to protect our hours and to also protect us as we work. That's just the way that I feel. And so I think that we should be able to have a minimum guarantee as far as hours that we are able to get each week. I know some zones and some states have hourly guarantees. Some do, some don't. Mine doesn't. Most of the time, like when you first start Instacart, you'll get an hourly guarantee anyway, despite of, and so that's for like the first 3 weeks. And after that, it usually disappears and stuff like that. But that's just for some people who do have hourly guarantees permanently in their zones. And so I just feel like, with people having to go on vacation or have like surgery, like I have talked to shoppers who did not have very serious surgery that they needed because they were afraid to lose their early access. Now I don't know if I would be able to do that if I needed something done, but that's how they feel. They're like, I don't want to lose my early access. I didn't have the surgery because I knew if I took my vacation on the app, then I wouldn't be able to get anything. And that is so sad. Like for me and for a lot of other people, like Instacart is like their full-time job. And so in the meantime, I've been praying and asking God to open up other opportunities, and so this won't be as stressful and things like that. And so like I said, the early access and the vacation times policy and procedure is not fair. It's not right. It doesn't give people enough time to even get things together. And it makes shoppers like stressed out about, should they go on vacation, should they go to go visit their kids, should they take surgery, like should they have surgery, should they go, and like it's just ridiculous. And so it's almost like not promising that you'll have a job, you see. And so I don't think that's right. I just think it's so wrong, and I believe that Instacart should change that. Now the next thing is the reliability incidents, because I think I'm kind of neutral on the reliabilities. And if you guys don't know what reliabilities are, reliability incidents are, it's like a system with Instacart where if you end up missing a shift, or if you end up not coming back on shift, or if you are out of your zone, whatever the case is, then you get a incident on your account, and you're only allowed like up to 5 in a 30-day calendar period. But technically you're only allowed 4, because if you ever get a reliability, it's like, say suppose if like they offered you a batch and you don't acknowledge it, and then you'll see like what you'll do is what happens is like they'll give you an email, and the email says something like, you if like once you occur 4 reliabilities within a, I think, 30-day time period or 2-day time, it was something like that, then you will then your account is subject to you not being able to pick hours until the day before. But last time I checked, it said 5, so I don't know why they're changing it. And so I agree with them to some extent, because of course they do want people that are reliable. Instacart does not want people that are going back and forth with their hours picking and changing all the time. People that are able to work their shifts. People that are in their zone at the right time when they're scheduled. I agree with that part, but I think that sometimes it's unfair, especially when there's so many app glitches, there's so many issues with the app, and you might try to acknowledge a batch, and then it gives you a reliability when you can't, because there's something wrong with the app. Literally, there are problems with the app, and so you can't acknowledge it, and then it gives you an RI. And so you gotta, of course, get back on shift, but then you end up missing a batch. You see what I'm saying? I mean, there's so many factors and why they give them to me. Also, like, I've talked to shoppers who, I mean, like, I've seen stuff where Instacart will give somebody a batch that is like 40 minutes away from where they are. Like, there might be a store that is nowhere near where they are at, as far as like, they may have just dropped off a batch for a customer, or they might be in a different area, and the Instacart wants you to drive very far to a particular store, and you got to do it. And so if you don't, then they're going to threaten to deactivate you if you don't go to that same store that's on the list that they want. You see what I'm saying? And so they end up getting a reliability saying that you did not shop in time, or or like, where are you? Please, please start shopping. And you're like, how can I? And I have to drive 30 or 35 minutes just to get to the store. To me, that's not fair. That is almost like a setup for failure. And another thing I wanted to discuss with you guys is, as far as like picking hours, like, the picking of the hours is rough, which I just mentioned a little while ago. You got to be on the app at 9 and Sunday morning. They need to just kick that to the curb. And now I did talk to somebody. I forgot who it was. It was somebody that works for Instacart. I can't remember who it was, but they basically said that they feel that the reason why they picked that is because they think that shoppers will continually edit their schedule during the week, and it makes them more attentive to do it on a weekend, like on a Sunday, where they know that they'll be able to get on the app. It was something to basically. It's almost like it was like a setup to me. I was like, why would they do that? Like, that's weird. But that's what they said, and they just think that it gives shoppers an opportunity to just to be more alert, or when they could pick their schedule and stuff. And I think it's crazy. Like, I mean, especially like, what if somebody was like a preacher or a minister, or taught Sunday classes, and like they couldn't do that. Like, especially if they're working Instacart full time, like they would be never be able to do it, because they're preaching, like, or they're in the congregation, or like maybe they're behind the pulpit. I don't know. I mean, there's so many factors in that, and so I just think that Sundays is just crazy. But those are some of the policies and procedures that I do not like. I do not think that are fair as far as how Instacart runs things. And of course, you guys have seen my previous vlog on what Instacart just did with daily pay, and so they are supposedly going to implement another system to where we're able to cash out the same day or the next day or however long, and without using daily pay. I do not like active hours. I think they suck. You're only allowed up to a certain amount per day, and only a certain amount per week, and that is it. And so you're only allowed like $100 a day and $500 a week. So if you make $1,000, you out of gas, and so you got to wait till your next pay cycle and stuff. So it's kind of an inconvenience, and I'm not going to go into detail because you have to watch the other vlog about how I feel about that. But I just feel like there are some things that, that they're doing that it's not fair, and it seems like they don't care that it's like with Instacart. And from what I have perceived and what I have heard from other shoppers is that because they feel like you're expendable, that's the reason why they do it. So they can let you go at moment's notice, and they'll deactivate you for silly stuff. And if you have a question about something, or if you have a voice about something, then they'll try to deactivate you, or they'll send one of the the area managers or the mentors or the shift leads to harass you, and that's just the way they do things. And so unfortunately, I just have this feeling that even though Instacart was recently sued by some of the shoppers and the shoppers won, that it's going to occur again. But I believe it's going to be more serious this time if they don't shape up. Because just like I just see the situation with Uber, how Travis Kalanick, he ended up getting fired, and even though he had some rough patches, he had lost one of his relatives. I mean, it was rough, but his attitude sucked. And even though he was a manager, like he was a CEO, like he wasn't a leader. And there's a difference between a manager, a person who manages, and a person who leads. And we all know that a person who leads is a person that are able to have people that will look up to them, people that acknowledge them, people that respect them, people that follow them. A leader is able to encourage and to build up and to strengthen people. And he wasn't a great leader. And so I think that, hopefully this won't happen to the CEO of Instacart. And so I pray that he doesn't, and maybe I do see things slowly starting to change with Instacart. I mean, I do see some things that are changing for the better. However, I just think that it's a slow process, and especially with the whole daily pay issue and us getting paid whenever we want, and we should be able to cash out whenever we want. They should have did that when they first implemented Instacart. Like as soon as Instacart, was ready to go, they should have did that. Like as soon as they knew, instead of us getting paid once a week, knowing that it could be a possibility that we might want that option to get paid every day or the same day, they should have implemented that as soon as they launched the platform. That's just the way I feel. Not wait until the last minute, or just to pull the plug on people, especially when people have bills. They may have things going on, and you just don't do that to people. So I mean, but the only way to really get your voice heard is to speak up and say something. Send emails, start go on change.org and start some type of a petition. Do that. And another thing, another policy that I don't like is how they do the tips and the service fee, and they don't tell the customers everything. They leave certain parts out, having the customers to think that we get that service fee as a tip, and we don't. Like, they need to make that clear and known to the customer, and maybe they use a portion of that money to give us shopper bumps and things like that. I don't know what they use that money for, but whatever the case is, Instacart needs to be honest with us and not use middle people to have these town hall meetings and not tell the truth. You understand what I'm saying? And so, I mean, but regardless of this, I just think that this is a stepping stone for a lot of people. This is not going to be everybody's main job later on down the road. To some, this is something just to do until they could get back on their feet, and then they're going to start something else, And so, but those are some of the things that I think that are unfair. And I just pray that Instacart changes their policies and how they do that, because honestly, there are a lot of great shoppers out there. And I know some of you guys work your butt off. I mean, to, to for some of y'all, like Instacart is like full time. It's like full time for you, and you're working hard. And maybe some of you are out, like me, are out there in the heat every day. It's hot in your state, or maybe it's very cold and you have to deal with snow. I mean, or maybe you're in bad weather and it rains all the time, like Seattle or something. I don't know, like whatever the situation is. I just pray that you are making the best of it, and that you're making the most of it and doing it to the best of your ability. And I just wanted to encourage all of you, just do your best. And if something is not right, make sure that you document everything and you send emails, because they are listening and they are slowly making changes, of course, because, Instacart is a relatively new company. Like they haven't been around for 10 years. They've only been around for like maybe 3 years or so. And so we do have to give them time, but at the same time, they shouldn't punish us because they don't have their act together. You know what I'm saying? So just be encouraged, y'all. I thank you so much for your love and support for these videos, for watching my videos and my vlogs. And if you have any questions or comments or suggestions, or just anything that you would like for me to do, a video on, just shoot me an email, and my information is down there below. I can't promise you that I'll be able to do videos on everything, and I only just do them as I'm led. But just be encouraged, and I thank you. I love y'all, and be encouraged. Bye.